Hi, Sandra Wilson here. I'm a clinical hypnotherapist that helps people with ADHD and rejection sensitivity. So I thought I would talk a little bit today about a really horrible feeling. It's something that we carry around with us a lot, especially with ADHD, and it's the fear of social judgment, the fear of being judged. And one particular gnarly little customer is fear of appearing stupid or silly. And it can show up sometimes at school or maybe college, university, in lectures, especially those discussion groups. It can show up in the workplace, in meetings. And sometimes it can be very embarrassing, and you might have learned at some point when you were younger. For example, you put your hand up in a classroom and when the teacher asks a question and you give the wrong answer. Everybody laughs. And if you've had a lot of criticism in your life, a lot of teasing, a lot of negative labelling, to have people judging you, laughing at you in this way, especially if you're young, then it's going to feel very, very unsafe when you're an adult to admit that you don't know something. So what tends to happen is we mask. So you pretend to know the answer. You pretend you understand by kind of giving these quite subtle, subconscious body language expressions. Oh yeah. And you nod your head and give the impression that you understand something when really you just want to say, I don't really get it. Would you mind just explaining that a bit more, please? And it can be just truly, truly embarrassing. It can feel very unpleasant, and often it is what holds us back, because if you don't feel safe admitting that you don't know something, how are you going to grow and learn? And often with ADHD, like I said, the masking, the faking it, the avoidance of asking for help, all that really means is that you, like I said before, it's a feeling of not being safe to do so. And you don't ask questions. You're forever having to hide behind this mask of knowing everything, because you've learned, you've had your fingers burned in the past, that when you get something wrong, everybody judges you, everybody laughs. And if you recognise yourself, as an adult, even having debates with friends, if you go to a friend's house for dinner and people are debating some issue and you're just too scared to open your mouth because you don't want to come off as sounding like a dimwit, or like you don't have enough knowledge, so you just don't say anything at all. And it's such a shame, because it really holds you back, having these healthy debates, having the courage to say, I don't know, I don't understand, please could somebody just maybe explain it to me? And that would help you to learn, because here's the thing, right? You weren't born knowing everything. You cannot possibly do that. We learn. We learn from reading. We learn from observing. We learn from watching videos, listening to podcasts. We learn and develop and grow. But you cannot possibly know everything about any given subject. And sometimes this really shows itself in, say, if you started a new job, and the pressure to learn, the pressure to know everything by the end of your first day, it's not going to happen. And, I've had clients many, many times who've started new jobs where they feel like leaving because the imposter syndrome, the sense that they are being expected to know everything, to hit the ground running, is just too intense, and a lot of anxiety and panic then sets in. So can you start to get more comfortable with just admitting that you need some help, or just admitting that you don't know something and you're open to learning. You know, it's safe to say, look, I don't know. You know, I've helped people who've been in management positions who really struggled to, you know, with staff members, with team members, asking them questions, putting them on the spot in meetings when they don't know the answer. And it takes courage, and it takes a lot of, I don't know, it's to feel comfortable in your skin, especially in that type of setting, to just say, I'm going to get back to you. I can't answer that right now. There's a few things I'd need to look into. So trust me, it's safe to say that you haven't got all the answers all the time, and you can just say, I don't know. Anyway, I hope that has helped, and I'll be back with more content tomorrow. Bye for now.